What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams with the distance. Just got done watching Tomasz Adamek versus Cristobal Arreola. I did predict Tomasz Adamek by a decision. Really good fight. One of the best heavyweight fights we've had in years, if you ask me. Both fighters throwing over like 1,000 punches combined. Um, both of them landing over 100 punches. Pretty good connect percentages. Adamek at like 31, Arreola at about 24. But anyway, on to the fight. First, the first 3 rounds I did give to Tomasz Adamek, and but the big question here was how would Tomasz Adamek do against the pretty much a legit heavyweight contender, or pretty much someone who challenged at the heavyweight level, who was Cristobal Arreola. So anyway, back onto the fight. I gave the first 3 rounds to Tomasz Adamek. I gave those rounds to Tomasz Adamek based on pretty much he was able to throw his left jab. He was able to pump out the left jab, sneak in the right hand at times, and there were times that Arreola was landing the left hand, and when he landed the left hand, it would seem to hurt Tomasz Adamek, and his head would kind of snap every time that Arreola would land that left hand. But Tomasz Adamek learned, pretty much to adapt after those rounds. But the first 3 rounds I did give to Adamek. I gave to Adamek based on, he was outlanding him. He was pretty much the ring general, and he was boxing very well in those first 3 rounds. He moved around the ring, threw his left jab, countered very well, followed up his left jab with pretty well timed shots. So I did give the first 3 rounds to Adamek. 4, 5, and 6 I gave to Arreola. Arreola was aggressive in those rounds. Adamek, was having problems with his boot, and they had to tape up the boot or whatever. But it did seem that in round 4 or round 5 that Arreola seemed to stun Adamek, but he was able to start to kind of pour it on. He came forward, and he started landing some really big shots in those rounds. So I did give the next 3 to Cristobal Arreola based on aggression. And then 7, 8, 9 I gave to Tomasz Adamek. Tomasz Adamek started to do what he tended to do in the first 3 rounds. He started to pump out the left jab. He started to circle around the ring more. He started to adapt very well. He started following up his shots very well. Started to follow up the left jab with right hands, and kind of got a few shots off on the inside. Started to take a little more risk in 7, 8, and 9 than he did in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Started to take more risk, so I gave those rounds to Adamek, 7, 8, and 9. Round 10 was a close round. That's kind of the round where Arreola got hurt. The first minute and a half, Arreola dominated the round, but the last minute and a half, Adamek started to pour it on a little bit. I did give that round to Arreola. Arreola had a strong showing at the beginning of that round, so I did give that round to Arreola. I gave round 10 to Arreola, based on aggression, pretty much ring aggression. I did give the round to Arreola based on that. Though you can debate round 10 on whether or not who should win. Adamek did land some pretty good shots in round 10. So, that round could have gone either way. But I gave that round to Arreola. Round 11, Arreola came out swinging, started to try to pour on, tried to be the aggressor. But Adamek in the last 2 minutes, or 2.5 minutes of the round, pretty much started to counter, started to, land a lot of shots, throw a lot of shots. And pretty much Arreola didn't really have an answer for that, because, he stayed on the outside quite a bit. He wasn't willing to fight with Arreola. He stayed on the outside, threw his shots, went back on the outside, threw more shots, went back on the outside, and Arreola didn't really have an answer for that. So I gave round 11 to Tomasz Adamek. Round 12, it was pretty much the same as round 11. Arreola came forward. Adamek pretty much circled around the ring, predominantly to his left. Adamek, started, threw his shots, got out of the exchange, didn't really exchange with Arreola, didn't stay in the pocket. He moved around, pretty much got his shots off, moved around again, and really that's what Tomasz Adamek did in that round to win it. But overall, really good victory for Tomasz Adamek, very good showing. Though some may think it was a weak showing because he didn't knock out Arreola, but I think that Adamek did what he was supposed to do in the fight to win, and he did. There wasn't much adaptation in the fight, but Adamek pretty much what he did was he stayed on the outside quite a bit. He didn't stand and went and go to war with Arreola, but he did stay on the outside quite a bit in the fight. He kind of stayed within a certain range and a certain distance, and he fought. Pretty much fought Arreola to the decision. And I think that's what he was aiming for. He didn't stand in there and trade with Arreola, but he did stay on the outside and land his shots from the outside coming in. That's really what he did during the entire course of the fight. And Adamek had a really good, pretty much I thought it was a very good showing for Tomasz Adamek. One of the best heavyweight fights we've seen in quite a long time as far as two men exchanging with each other and two men actually fighting. Really good showing from both fighters. Adamek, I did predict Adamek decision. I said unanimous, but it was majority. But anyway, Adamek got the decision in the fight. Other than that, hopefully we see Adamek fight or contend for a championship sometime soon. I hope, or fight another big contender. There's quite a few contenders out there that Adamek could face. I'd love to see Adamek fight maybe a Tony Thompson, David Tua, or the winner of Shigaev Meehan. Hopefully, one of those fighters. Hopefully, we see Adamek fight against one of those fighters. But this is a very good victory for Tomasz Adamek, if you ask me. Maybe he'll be fighting for a championship. Who knows? But he did prove today or tonight that Tomasz Adamek could compete at this heavyweight level. Though the only problem though is he's not willing to exchange with a real big legit heavyweight. He's not willing to exchange, but he knows how to fight and he knows how to adapt, and pretty much he showed and proved that he belongs in this heavyweight division. So hopefully, I do want to see him against the winner of Shigaev Meehan. I want to see him against the winner of that fight. Maybe we could see him against Hasim Rahman. Maybe we could see him against Evander Holyfield. One of these guys. Hopefully we see him contend against, fight against one of these guys. Maybe in the summer to prepare himself for a title shot at the end of the year. Maybe. Hopefully. I'd love to see him fight David Haye. I'd love to see him fight Vitaly or Vladimir Klitschko. One of these guys. But Tomasz Adamek did prove a lot tonight that he's ready to contend and fight at this level, because now he's faced a legit heavyweight contender who packs on a big punch and possesses knockout power. But for Cristobal Arreola, I do hope to see him in the ring again soon. Maybe back on HBO. I hope to see him back on HBO. Maybe maybe he could fight against a top legit contender. Like I said with Adamek, maybe David Tua, Bonnie Barrett, one of those guys are willing to fight Arreola, because Arreola still possesses a big name within the heavyweight division. He's still a really good fighter. But hopefully in his upcoming fight, hopefully we see him in shape. 250 pounds is a little too much for Arreola. About 15 pounds less is really good for him. I like to see him at 235, 230, within that range, because he looked best at that, within the 230, 230, 240 pound range. He looked the best at. So hopefully we do see Arreola fight at that, continue to fight, maybe on HBO, ESPN, Showtime, one of those places. Hopefully Arreola has a really big comeback. I really hope to see more from him in the future. And other than that, I really wish him the best in the future. Really hope he does become the first Mexican-born or Mexican heavyweight champion of the world someday. I really hope so. But tonight was Tomasz Adamek's night. And anyway, that was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.